for all the girls that be living stress-free. This for all the girls on a mission like me. This for all the girls that be living stress-free.
Conversations with Dannaya. This is episode number 7, and today we are going to be talking about all things Black femininity. I do have a special guest today with me, and I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Claire, a native of Charlotte by way of Anson County. I'm a mother of a preteen, and I'm here today to kind of indulge and talk about Black women and femininity and positivity.
Yay! Thank you for coming. I appreciate you being here this morning. It is an early morning. This is spring forward. This is daylight savings time, and it's raining outside. So, you know, it took some effort for us to get in here today, but we are excited to talk about this topic. As you guys know, I am a big advocate of Black women, period, okay? And one thing about it is Black sisterhood. So I've realized that a lot of Black women, unfortunately, have this unspoken hesitancy toward other Black women, especially as it relates to kind of intimacy, friendship, just, you know, truth and trust. And I hate that though, because I think it's a disservice to us as a community to always feel like in the back of our mind you have to watch your friend or your sister. But then I also understand it because I've been in situations personally where things didn't turn out well, where there were, you know, kind of weird vibes, weird things happening. How do you feel about that?
Sitting here listening to you say that, I was thinking about like the dynamic between Black women is just so awkward sometimes. I remember one day I got my hair done and it was like some fresh braids and it was a sunny day, so it's like 2 days later, and this lady, this older Black lady hanging out the window of her car gonna yell out, "Don't nobody care, you just got your hair done." And like that's the rapport.
What was the facial expression? Was she serious?
She had like a serious mean face, and then when she was done, she started smiling to let me know she was giving me a compliment.
Oh, okay.
But like, why is it so awkward to compliment each other? I make it a point to like make sure I compliment Black women when I see them popping their shit. I be like, okay.
I agree. I love that, especially like when I'm out and it's a feel good moment and I see somebody walking. I love that for some reason. That's a specific moment that I love. Like, look at her hair popping. I love that.
I love that too.
But then also I think it's to build up. You know what I mean? Because why is there always like a backhanded compliment? Because it's kind of like a bash down to build up. Like, nah, let's just build you up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Just be nice to each other.
I agree. And I feel like that in the work environment too. So on a previous podcast episode, I talked about how, unfortunately, even in professional environments, there were women around me who were very oppressive, who were like trying to stifle me. They were, you know, had some insecurities or jealousies toward me when, you know, they had no reason to, because there's no way I'm trying to take anybody's spot or anything like that. But, you know, as a woman younger than you, I would think that you would, you know, grant me wisdom that you have with your experience and kind of help to cultivate and grow me in that environment, but it wasn't the case. Now that I'm a community manager, I have people who work under me, and I make it my business to encourage their development 100%, even if that means that, you know, I have a role that's unoccupied now because you've moved into something greater. I don't mind that. I want you to grow. I want to see the best version of you. I love that.
Right.
How do you feel about that professionally?
I feel the same way. I feel like sometimes when it's Black women in the work industry, especially if they have like a different superior type of position, sometimes they kind of come down on you, or they make you be in a position to like have to come to them for everything. Like they want to feel a little bit more than what they are. And it does feel stifling. Like, because how do you grow? How are you promoting for me to grow?
Right.
If you're trying to just keep me suppressed under you.
Yeah.
So I totally feel that, especially in the work industry. It kind of rubs you the wrong way a little bit when you see like a Black lady in a high position. You're excited and you're like, okay, let's go Black lady. But then you're thinking, oh Lord, what's this gonna come with?
I know, like, what's the relatability? But I have had experiences. When I was working in financial services, I had an experience with a Black woman. She was my manager and she was Jamaican. And she was one of those who encouraged me, like, don't get caught up in the wrong spaces. Come with me to this director meeting. So she was the first one that I had that experience with where I was like, oh, okay, I love this. You know what I'm saying? And there was a certain allegiance to her because of that. Like, I know that you really with it, so you need something done. You know what I mean? Anybody talking down about her, just gossiping, I take no part, so I don't got nothing to say about that. I'm gonna walk away because I know what you want. You know what I mean? And I'm not about to, try to dim that light in no capacity in front of nobody. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's how I hope to build a community too. You know what I mean?
Right. That's how it should be. Like, I hate to say like a family, because a family is a little bit too intimate, but it should be something that mirrors how a family is developed.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, this should be our little space, and we should be safe here.
Yep, agree. Safe spaces, that's
right.
big. Okay, so you brought up safe spaces, and that's a good transition into the topic of friendship, maybe even family relationships, dealing with women in our families, and the intimacy that comes with friendship, and kind of being avoidant of that because of past experiences that may have hurt you. You had an example. How do you feel about that?
I feel like women, Black women especially, has always been like a really sensitive topic for me. I feel like I haven't always felt safe around Black women. I feel like my first bully was a Black woman. I don't have good rapport with my mother, and I think a lot of that stems from there, because that's your first female relationship. But in addition to that, like, the women around me, the rapport hasn't always been so friendship-like. So I've struggled in that area, and honestly, it's driven me to kind of have more male friends than I do female.
Okay, I understand that. So me and my mother have a really good relationship, and the women in my family, well, the closeness, my aunt, my sisters, my mom, we're good. So when I went out and I started to establish friendship, just automatically, I'm coming from a place of we good. So when I started to navigate these different spaces, and I realized a lot of people are weird, a lot of women are weird. They are, backbiters. They want to gossip, but they'll smile in your face. They are insecure. They'll kind of feed off of your ideas, your concepts, your creativity, and try to diminish it, but then go behind you and try to establish those same spaces. And I was like, it was so unfamiliar. It was kind of like a culture shock, but in that space. So yeah, that was really hurtful. So I am very guarded with my friendships. There's certain like boxes I have to check mentally. Right. You know what I mean? Not even to say it like that, but integrity is really big to me. Loyalty is really big to me. And when I say loyalty, I don't mean just a blind allegiance, but are you talking shit or, trying to diminish me in front of other people, but smiling in my face? You know what I mean? So that's something that I had to deal with. When it comes to friendships, how you feel about that?
I feel like I'm in this whole new era of my life, and like really putting myself first. I've ended some friendships recently, and I guess the ending of the friendship was just like deleting them from social media. Like, genuinely, I wish you the best, but we don't need to share the same space. I want you to eat, but not at this table.
Right, exactly.
Because sometimes you get to a point where you feel like you're kind of tolerating people. I don't want any friendships where I'm tolerating you or you feel like you're tolerating me. Because a lot of people really don't like you, but they want to be around you because of whatever energy that they see you possess, or how people react to how you act and dress or talk. So they want to be around you, but they really don't. They don't.
That's so
and that's
weird.
Why
though.
you keep talking about me. That's why you keep doing little shady things.
That's
like,
real.
let's dead it, because we're too old to be fighting. Everybody has way too much to lose. So let's just dead it. I wish you the best though, genuinely, because there's nothing evil coming from me.
Right.
I just don't want to be in your space.
Yeah, so I had something similar happen within the last year or so, and it was hurtful to me. But about a month later, I was just at a bar. I was at Genia, one of my favorite restaurants uptown, and I was at the bar and I met another girl, and we kind of were sharing stories, and literally we clicked like that. And so what that let me know, and not to say that she's a replacement, but what it let me know is that when you cut off those things that you know you need to cut off. Even if there is grief that comes with it, there's a new level waiting for you. There are new experiences, there are new people, and you have to trust the timing and the transitions and the seasons of life.
Yes.
You know, if you don't grieve, you're not living, but there is joy, there is excitement, there is newness, there's exploration that comes beyond that. So have you been cultivating new friendships? How has that been?
I feel like everything is just feels so new around me. Like women at work, oh, okay, you're an admin. Like at work, networking is really, really big. So they're like, okay, my executive said they'll pay for us to have lunch today. Let's go have lunch. And then we're talking like, oh, I'm a mom, you're a mom. Okay, well, like the girl, she invited me to an African baby shower. She was like, it's about to be lit. I need you to like dress to the nines.
Did you go already?
It's next Sunday, and I am so excited.
I can't wait to see what you wear.
She was like, oh my goodness, I don't know what to wear. I'm gonna have to ask you to help me.
Okay.
But she was just like, oh no, like we are on the same wave.
Yes.
And it reminded me of a post I saw. It was said something like, you haven't met everybody that's gonna love you. And that doesn't just pertain to men.
That
pertains to people. Like, they're like, oh, Claire, come on, I want you to come here. I want you to do this with us. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, like, okay, I'm mingling with these new people. And I love it.
The unfamiliar aspect of that to me is like, you know what I mean? Like we were talking about earlier, like, is this really how things are moving, or am I tripping? What, you know, you said you experienced that too. How has it been?
Like having to say, okay, God, I want X, Y, Z, and then X, Y, Z starts to happen, and you're trembling, like literally shaking in your boots because you're trying to adjust to this new comfort and find this new routine or this new normal in this new space, and it's so uneasy. Yeah. It makes you so nervous, and sometimes I have to talk to myself like, okay, you asked for this.
That's the same. Yeah, that's real. So that's something that I've been experiencing too, but I have had to remind myself to stay open, because when it feels like this might be too good, or this might be, you know, too good for what I've been going through, I close up. But I'm like, no, you gotta stay open because you are receiving what you wanted. And so then you stay open and you have a good time, and you're like, ooh, you know, this is it. I'm glad I experienced everything I experienced to get to this place and to keep exploring and growing. So, yeah.
Because maybe if you didn't experience before, you wouldn't appreciate it or feel the way you feel with the newness.
Exactly.
Like God is really preparing us for every new level.
Yep, I agree. So that's good. I didn't know that you or anybody else could be experiencing that, but that's something that I really, truly have been experiencing the last season of my life. And I'm like, ooh, I like this. Good friendships, genuine, you know, it's just all good. I don't want to have to think about, like I talked about in the parenting podcast, I don't want to have to think about in the back of my mind, if you shady, if you doing this, if you know, trying to sabotage me in any way. That's suffering.
No, that is.
Yeah, and I think, like we were talking about, we can transition now into this, the fascination in the kind of fetishism of Black women and suffering, feeling like Black women should be suffering, whether it's personally, whether it's professionally, as a parent, as a partner, in professional environments, even spiritually, honestly. Like that mental image that Black women are only honored and valued in the amount that they can endure, that's sick and twisted. And I hate that even I ever subscribe to that, because I can tell myself in my past, going through relationships, feeling like, oh, well, I'm supposed to be a ride or die. I'm supposed to, you know, do X, Y, and Z in this relationship. That's my role that I'm supposed to play. And because of who I am, like, I want to do what I'm supposed to do. I want to operate in my purpose. And so I'm enduring and dealing with these different things. And the honor was never in the suffering. The honor was always in the honesty.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm going through all of this, and as soon as I get honest, like, I don't like this. This shit is abusive. This shit is annoying. It's disrespectful. I don't want to do this. Then everything just started to fall away. And that's when the ease began. And I'm like, oh, the whole time, all I had to do was be real, you know what I mean? About how I'm feeling, about my emotional experience, my spiritual experience. What you think about that?
I feel like when you get to that point, when you're trying to honor your emotions and you're actually paying attention to it, not, for me, not listening to, because my family, you would think, I know slavery has broken Black people down, but you would have thought they used to be slaves, Shamaria, because they would be like, oh no, it's because you lazy. No, I'm tired.
I know, right?
I'm tired, so I had to learn to like get rid of their voices.
Yeah.
And just hear my voice and my opinion.
Right.
And no, this is too much for me.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't want to do this.
No, that's real.
And honor it.
Yeah.
Not do it.
Because I think, like you said, because our past, our history, our ancestors endured so much, I think the confusion is they didn't endure so much for us to continue to have to endure so much.
Right,
you know
for
what I mean?
what?
That doesn't make sense. They endured what they had to in their season and their experience to make life easier. I endure certain things to make life easier for my child, for the people around me, not because I want him to suffer or endure as bad as I have.
Absolutely
That doesn't
not.
make any sense. But
Absolutely not.
even in, okay, so let's talk about professional environments, being like a workforce. I just don't subscribe to that. You know, I'm tired today. You know, we're going to have an easy day. We're going to go do lunch. We're going to go do some team building today. As long as the boxes are checked and there are no hard lines that we need to meet, why do you feel like I have to be just busy with my head down all day? That doesn't make any sense. I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? And I think they think that black women have to work harder, but we can work smarter. We have shown the world that. What do you think about that?
I agree. I feel like when you decide not to subscribe to being a workhorse and you just want to be a lady who's going to her 8 to 5, it, again, bringing up my family, they look at you like you are just like so lazy, like, no, you're not, they're gonna get rid of you. Like, these are the things that I have to battle. Like, no, it doesn't mean that they're gonna get rid of me. This is what they're asking of me, and I'm simply doing it.
Right.
That's all.
It's
overwhelming.
It's the fear.
That's what it is.
That is what it is. It's that women have been fear-based for so long. So in relationships, and I think that goes back to the friendships. So you don't have to dim my light. You don't have to talk shit about me because you feel some type of way. That's a fear-based.
Right.
If you are operating in abundance in your life, you know that you can shine. I can shine. We all can shine. You know what I mean? You don't have to trip like that. At work, I can do my work without having to sweat all day and it still get done. And I think that is the problem. So many of our relationships, so many of the roles that we occupy, so much of our identity as black women has been rooted in fear. Has it been rooted in, if I don't have this, if I don't do this, then my life is gonna go to hell. And that's not the case, and I hate that. And I want to just send a reminder out now that we're on the topic that if you are dealing with that, you know, because we all have that kind of mental conversation with ourselves where, you know, fear will try to introduce itself, but you have to like throw those conversations out. Like, no, everything is all good, because it's imaginary fear and it will try to take hold of the unknown. But you have to remind yourself, you know, your life is your path, your journey. There's enough for everybody. You don't have to compare yourself. You don't have to be insecure around anybody. What's yours is already yours. So you don't have to be tripping on none of that. How you feel?
I totally agree. I feel like fear drives a lot of the issues that's in the black community, but especially with women. Like, women are afraid for you to be doing what they deem better. Because in the fear that maybe you'll get more attention, or the fear that, you know, you'll have more accolades, whatever the case may be. But when you try to address and remove that fear, then you open yourself up to, like, it really feels like a weights are being lifted from your shoulders when you try to just let go of fear and let things just be. Like, there's room, honestly, for everyone. And I think sometimes we get caught up in so much competition because that's all we know. Like, think about back before, like, our moms and our grandmas and the women before then. They didn't have women around because they don't want no woman around their husband in fear. He might try to sleep with her or something. It's always fear-driven, everything. And when I see it, like, women act nasty or they, you know, say something shady or something not so friendly, I look at it as just that fear. You don't believe in yourself, and I hate that for you. And I hope that you get to a better space, and I pray that you do, because it's better for me, you, and everybody around you if you was in a better place.
No, that's real.
Seriously.
Yeah, I hate that, but I understand it. You know what I mean? Because when we talk, even spiritually, because that's the basis of mostly everything, you don't hear about women. You know what I mean? It's always masculine men, you know, even saying the sons of God. It's always that masculine portion. So I think with women being disconnected from their divinity, being disconnected from the reality that they also hold God power, being disconnected from the fact that they don't have to be tied to a man to be tied to greatness. You know what I mean? And I think that has been the driving factor in all facets, because if you like, I have to be tied to this man in order to be satisfied, in order to be fulfilled, in order to be doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and women come around, now you scared. Because you like, if I don't have him, if they take him, then who am I? And that's terrible.
That's really awful.
Yeah, I hate that.
And
so
that speaks more about the space that you're coming from.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about how Black women and how they relate to each other, kind of how we deal with each other. A lot of it is based in fear. And I think that's a good way to talk about authenticity. So I'm a big proponent now, especially after a few years ago going through kind of changing my whole life, personally and professionally. I only want to operate authentically because I feel like your authentic vibe attracts the things that you truly want. How you feel about that?
I agree, because when I'm being my authentic self and I'm being my full self, it's when I really feel free. Like, I feel like before, for friendships or any type of relationship, I've had to kind of change who I was to entertain or keep their focus.
Right.
But now when I'm being genuine and free to be me, I feel more comfortable. And I feel like what comes and flows and goes is really what should, because I'm being me. I'm not putting on, I'm not putting you first, I'm putting me first and how I feel, and I don't care about anything else.
Like feeling yourself literally. That's how I feel. Like, I am feeling myself. I love me. I be talking to myself. I watch podcast episodes of the past, like, girl, you be popping your shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it should be, though. And just like you said, because now you're able to flow more freely, you realize that all the experiences are evolving you into your greatest and kind of most solid and satisfied version of yourself, though, not anybody else. You don't have to compare because you're evolving yourself.
And I've created this new world this year where literally what's in my space is what I want in my space.
Right.
The energy that's in my space is the energy that I want around. It feeds me. Right. I reciprocate, but it feels like it's just Christmas every day right now.
Yeah,
it just feels good, and I feel like I'm flowing and walking into my divine.
I love that, I think that's the ease of soft life. I think, you know, soft life is beautiful, and I see it's all over the place. I love it. I love to see it. But the soft life is really just flowing in your authenticity, being who you are. When you are who you are, there's less restriction. So of course you can move with ease and softness and gentleness and be receptive to different things that are around you. That doesn't mean that you have to accept everything, but you can be open and kind of explore the possibilities. You don't have to be closed off and rigid. You can stay open because you're trusting yourself, you're knowing yourself, you're developing yourself, you're growing yourself, you're getting new relationships, kind of doing a little dance with yourself. You know what I mean? Yeah, I like that.
And sometimes I feel like in that I find myself talking to myself more. Yeah. I don't know if it's therapy or me being soft. No, but I'll just be sitting there with my headphones in and I'll be like, yes, this is exactly what's for me. Yes. I know that's right. Candles going. I be like, yes, I see you.
This for all the girls that be living stress free. This for all the girls on a mission like me. This